So, good morning, everyone. My name is Michelle Hudson. I'm a moderator today. Welcome to the Homeschool Plus Conference, Day 2. It's August 8th over here on the eastern coast of the United States. Today we're going to be hearing from Terri Novacek, who will be talking about homeschooling through a California charter school. Our recording is good to go. I would like to thank our sponsors, both Homeschool Life magazine and Home Education magazine, as well as G3 and Blackboard Collaborate for letting us use their extremely stable talk collaboration platform. So I'm going to put a star on my location. So Terri, you can see me. I'm over here in North Carolina. And what part of California are you in?
Second and final day of the Plus Conference.
All right, and Terri, you've got your slides loaded. And you were frozen there for me for just a little bit, but if you can hear me again, feel free to take us away whenever you're ready.
San Diego, so Southern California. Okay, thank you very much, Rochelle. Good morning, my name is Terri Novacek. I'm the Executive Director with an organization called Element Education. It is a nonprofit corporation that oversees 2 charter schools in Southern California. I have also been a homeschool mother for grades K through 12. I have 2 children. One has graduated high school. My youngest is now a senior, and she is homeschooling right now. My children have also spent some time in a public high school. They went through a period where they wanted to see what the real school was like. And I also have a traditional school background. I taught for 10 years before I got into homeschooling and in charter schools. So I do think that I have an understanding through both my professional and my personal experience of education of some of the concerns with being associated with a government agency when it comes to education. And I know that there's a lot of misinformation out there about charter schools. So that was my intent with this presentation, is to answer some of those questions. This presentation was planned. I will be giving my contact information out so that if anybody wants to email or call me with questions, whether they're in my area or not, I would be glad to talk to anybody about it. So just some basics about charter schools. They are publicly funded. They are funded through taxpayer dollars, just like every other school in California. As such, they are not allowed to charge tuition, and they must accept all students who apply. There are some exceptions to that, and it must be written in their charter document. For example, there are some charter schools that require certain test scores or academic abilities, but like I said, that has to be written in their charter document. Charter schools are typically authorized by a school district, and the reason I say typically is there are some who are authorized by county offices of education, and there are even some that are authorized by the state board of education, but most of them are authorized by a school district. And that just means that that district is responsible for making sure that the charter school is doing what it's supposed to do. Some districts have tighter oversight than others. For example, the 2 charter schools we run, we are able to run on our own. District checks in with us every now and then, but we handle everything on our own. There's other districts that will maybe handle the business side or handle the special education side and are more involved in their charter schools. Every charter school follows a charter, which is a written document that says, this is our methodology, this is how we plan to assess our students, these are the expected outcomes for the students. And you should be able to find that charter document on charter school websites. And that gets on, at-risk students, focused on homeschool students, focused on, high-achieving students. Maybe some are focused on, arts. And so you would be able to find that in the charter document. Charter schools are bound by much, but not all, of Ed Code. The idea behind the charter schools is that they were supposed to be able to do as well, if not better, than the traditional schools, and that they're supposed to have more freedom to be able to do that, kind of more that out-of-the-box education. Unfortunately, and this is just an opinion I'm going to slide in there, as time has gone on and there's been more and more charter schools, there are more and more education codes that are coming down to the charter schools. But they still do benefit from a lot more freedom than traditional schools and larger districts. So the type of charter school that works with homeschool families in the State Department's eyes is considered independent study. You will hear terms like non-classroom based, personalized learning, home study, but really you won't find anything in Ed Code that uses those terms. Homeschool is not even formally recognized by the state. It is referred to as independent study. Because the homeschooling, independent study programs have gotten so big, and there's so many of them, the state is at a place right now where they're wondering, okay, how are we going to handle this? Because when independent study was written into Ed Code, that was the type of independent study where you go to your district independent study program, they give you a stack of the same curriculum that's being used in the classroom, and and calling that homeschooling or independent study, whereas we know as homeschool. But the parent is considered the primary educator. Assignments are given and assessed by the credentialed teacher on a regular basis. This is one of those things, when you start calling around charter schools, one of the questions you want to ask them is, how much say do I have in the daily assignments and assessment? There are some charter schools that work very much like your district independent study program, that they will say these are all your assignments and you will do these this way and this is your assessment. And, basically here it's what I call a packet school. And then there are some that will really work with the parent and preferably the student as well, as the student gets older, to determine those assignments together in a collaborative manner. So some concerns that are pretty typical with homeschoolers that are hesitant to be involved with charter schools is their concern about losing choice of curriculum. And again, this is a question for your list when you start calling around at charter schools. There are some charter schools that offer one curriculum. There are some that might have 5 different ones that you can pick from. Then there are other schools that will even go up to, the sky is the limit. Our Gehesa Charter School, we kind of do a smorgasbord, and whatever works. And because we're so geared towards learning styles, you can imagine that the curriculum is not even all books. You know, there's different types of curriculum. It's not all state-adopted textbooks. Assignment rigor, time, content, assessment. Again, every school handles that differently. A packet school is going to give everybody the same assignment, the same amount of time to do it, and the same type of assessment. So when you are talking to the charter school, you want to ask them and what types of assessment are allowed. A real big concern right now is Common Core, and that is just a nasty word to some people. There's others that have not even heard about it yet, and there's some that don't even care about it. Charter schools are state schools, and so Common Core is part of what we do. Again, how that gets done is up to the charter school. As far as I'm concerned, Common Core really hasn't changed anything other than there's more of a focus on critical thinking, which that's always been a focus for our schools anyways. It's not, the facts that you memorize, but your ability to think. The standardized testing, though, is different. Last year was the first year that the Common Core online testing was piloted, and there's a lot of bugs to be worked out. Again, personal opinion, I'm going to interject here. There are some questions on the test that need to be reevaluated, and I do see the state doing that. It's taking some time, but they are listening to parents and educators and taking a lot of feedback about the testing. As a publicly funded school, we do have to participate in the standardized testing. We do ask our families, to do that. If we don't have, a 97% participation, that puts the school up on the radar, and the next thing you know, the state's coming in, your district's coming in and saying, hey, you guys aren't doing your job here, your students aren't testing, and it does hurt the school. What we find in our schools is our parents look at it as a small price to pay for all the benefit that they get from the school. Or really low, is the state going to come in and say you can't homeschool anymore? And the answer is absolutely not. Those scores don't go back to the parent. They don't kick you out of the school. They're just one method of assessing, a student's knowledge, and so low scores really should not be a concern. The other concern is, the stress that it puts on a child. Time and time again, what I've seen is that the stress is really coming from the parent. We get students that come in, they do the test, and they have a good time with it. I'm not going to say that everybody, goes out with a smile on their face, but more times than not, it's really the stress of the parent. The kids have no problem, they come in, they do their test, and they leave. So benefits of working with a charter school, obviously, the free curriculum, an opportunity to network with other homeschoolers, access to group activities, organize field trips, internships, dances, clubs, teams, etc. Access to an experienced educator, a school counselor. If you have some special education needs, you have qualified staff for that. And then the idea of outside support. And sometimes it gets hard to be the parent and the educator. And we've seen a lot of parents that have appreciated having that outsider of the family to kind of serve as a mentor or be somebody that the student answers to. that's not necessary for every child, but it is helpful for a lot. Accreditation for high school. It really makes it a lot easier to transfer academic courses either to another school or for a university if you are, with a while. Now, as far as finding an independent study charter school in California, you could go to the California Department of Education's website. But to me, the easiest place to go is an organization called A+. It's a personalized learning organization, and it's only charter schools and only independent study. And so those are all the homeschool charter schools in California. Actually, I don't mean all of them, but most of them. Another one is the California Charter School Association, and that is all types of charter schools throughout the state. Some schools may belong to one organization and not the other, and then there's some that may choose to not belong to either one. Personal opinion, again, I would stay away from a charter school that chooses not to be a member of either one of those organizations. There's different reasons why they may not be part of those organizations. One could be they just don't have the money, but also, those organizations like to make sure that that the charter schools are operating smoothly, with integrity and with quality. And so I would make sure that your charter school is part of one of those organizations. So for the rest of my presentation, I wanted it to be more about individual questions. I've kind of done a broad intro here. It is 6 o'clock in the morning here in California, and so there are not any questions coming my way at this early hour. But I would like to give you my contact information. If you are even if you're not in this area, I have been in the charter world for about 12 years now, and I'm by no means an expert, but I'm pretty resourceful and can at least point you in a direction to, help you get some questions answered. Sorry about that. Looks like I left here. Okay, so my name made it. My email address is first initial, last name. So TNOVACEK at myelement.org. And my phone number is 619-247-3384. Again, I would welcome any questions. I love talking about homeschooling. It's worked well for me to homeschool through both my kids through charter school, and again, I can help with any questions that you want to ask schools, and then maybe even lead you in the direction of a charter school in your area. So thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Terri. Did you try anything before you homeschooled your kids through the charter school?
I did. I went through a district program, and that was, like I said, at that time, my daughter was in kindergarten and my son was in 2nd grade, and they gave me the huge stack of all the state-adopted textbooks, including the teacher's edition, in case you didn't know how to do kindergarten math. And coming from a traditional background, I thought, okay, yeah, that's right, I need all these books. But the more I started doing this with my kids, and I just thought, this doesn't feel right. And so we put the books aside, and they collected dust for the year, and then we went out and did what I consider real learning. And and the kids learned how to read with things that they wanted to read, and real books instead of these big hard anthologies full of what somebody else felt that they should want to read.
Very nice. And they are still homeschooling through a charter school at this point? Very nice.
Well, my son has graduated, and he's in college right now, and my daughter is a senior, and she is enrolled in DHESA Charter School, which is a K-12. And something I meant to put in there, a story I like to tell is, I did mention that my kids wanted to go to a traditional high school for a while, and after the first semester, I got a little bit of grief from them. It was like, I can't believe you homeschooled us all this time, and you sheltered us, and you ruined my life, and all those things that teenagers like to tell their parents. And I was actually kind of feeling a little guilty about it. And about a semester later, both of them on different occasions basically came back and said, oh, now I get it. Now I know why you wanted us to homeschool. And after they got over the newness, and then they just really were feeling like this is a prison, and just not having the flexibility and kind of being treated the way that they were treated. They were used to being in an environment where they were treated like young adults, and now they were kind of being treated like sheep or prisoners. And they were at a magnet high school, a really good school. But yeah, so my daughter, who she was getting the 4.2, she was the ASB queen. Where she couldn't make it at the school. She just was kind of feeling like she was done with that high school scene, and so she's back to homeschooling now for her senior year.
Right, Terri, thank you for the story. And I don't have any more questions. This will be on the recording, your name, email address, and phone number in the chat. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, all the way from the West Coast. Okay, all right.
Thank you,
Rachel. I'll speak with you later.
Okay.